Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another stand-up for the .NET Maui Community Toolkit. Vlad,
Hello.
Cliff, Tanya, so good to see you.
Hello?
We've a couple fewer people than last week, a couple scheduling conflicts, but that's okay. We've still got a lot of really fun, important announcements to share with everybody. Uh, but Vlad, how are you doing? How was your month?
Yeah, it was an awesome month. This month I become 1 year old. Yeah, so
Hey, happy
yeah,
birthday!
yeah, thank you. And that's it. I'm just back for 1 week from my countryside home. Yeah, and yeah, we'll back to it tomorrow. So my long holiday from summer till autumn, yeah, is still going. So that's how I spend my months.
Very, very jealous. Sounds amazing. Tanya, how about you? How was your month?
Hello everyone. It was fine this month. I have tried to resolve some bugs, and overall it was a good month for me. I also went for vacation for 2 weeks, and it was awesome.
Beautiful. Cliff, last but not least, how you
Yeah,
doing?
I
How's your month?
busy. Been very busy this month. Trying to catch up on lots of things. Lots of stuff going on at home. Kids back at school, all sorts. But yeah, calming down a little now, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like everybody everywhere, at least in the northern hemisphere where it was hot and now it's getting cooler. We're kind of getting back from vacation, getting back in the schedules. I love it. Love to hear it. Well, let's pull up the agenda for today and probably want to zoom in if we want everybody to be able to read it. Uh, as always, you can find our stand-up agenda here on GitHub. I'll drop the link in the comments if anybody wants to follow along. It's in our wiki. So just in case it's your first time joining us, you can navigate to the wiki for Community Toolkit /Maui, head down to monthly stand-ups. You can see all of our previous stand-ups as well as what we're going to chat about today. And today we have a couple big announcements. We had a big release come out in Community Toolkit.Maui version 6. So this is the latest release of the .NET Maui Community Toolkit. For anybody curious, we've got one more release planned. We're going to try and get a 6.1 out soon. There's a lot of pop-up bug fixes that we've got queued up in PRs. Thanks to Kenji, amazing community contributions there. But here in version 6, we did have a breaking change. Vlad did a really good job updating our speech recognition. So uh, well, Vlad, I can't take any credit for it. Vlad did all the hard work. But actually, Vlad, tell us about it. Tell us, tell us what's new in speech
Yeah.
recognition.
Yeah, with speech recognition, like the first version of speech recognition only had one method that had a parameter progress, which has a like intermediate response from your speech and converted it. But now we added two new methods. Now you can like start listening, then do whatever you want in your application, and you can subscribe to events. We introduced, I don't remember, one, two, three, three new events. Yeah, you will
I think
find all
so.
of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, you will find all of them in documentation. Yeah, and that events will show you what happened, how your speech recognition going, and whenever you want to stop recognition, you can use the second method that called like stop listening, and that's it about speech recognition. Also, as for the next feature, which was also in a breaking change for this release, it was a pop-up. We changed our Windows pop-up implementation from fly out to pop-up. So in that allow us to solve issues related to when pop-up disappear, when you like resize your window, when you like your window lost focus. So now this like um, these bugs disappear with the new release.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even realize. that was fixing this. Thanks, Vlad. Yeah, that was a weird. I'll call it a bug, but it's just how the Windows APIs were designed because we're using the native Windows APIs under the hood. But yeah, the first implementation of pop-up, if you resize the window while the pop-up was active, the pop-up would go away. So that's so cool that now it doesn't happen. Because I know for me, I wouldn't have expected that for my app. And Vlad, there was a breaking change in speech recognition too, right? We changed or removed offline support for Windows speech to text. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a good catch. We decided to like simplify our API and just use the same implementation like for all platforms because on Android, on iOS, you only had the like device recognition, which depends on the internet connection. And we decided that it is not fair that we allow Windows users to use offline recognition. Furthermore, it also didn't provide a good result as online recognition. So that is why we decided that it's better to remove it. And now you can only use like online speech recognition, and it's also free. The only thing you need is an internet connection, and most likely for now it's not a problem.
Fantastic, love it. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that as you're upgrading to version 6. Yeah, and for anybody who didn't know, under the hood, we were checking to see in previous versions of the toolkit, we were checking to see if you had an internet connection, and if you were, we would use the online Windows speech to text implementation, and if you weren't, we would go offline. But that was all hidden below. You couldn't do anything about it as a developer or as a user. So I agree. I think this is the right way to go. And I don't know if iOS and Android will ever add offline support, but if they do, we can talk about adding in a new feature. But love it. Thank you so much, Vlad, for your hard work. And yeah, like Vlad mentioned, the speech recognition now has events. So previously, you could call, oh gosh, I forget the exact API name, but basically, you could await speech to text.
Yeah, you had like, and you still can use the previous API. It's just an enhancement we added to new methods, and but if you like your like previous method, that actually weighted your result, so you can still use it. Yeah, and that method called like listen async, and it used a progress, I progress of string, so that, and that method is still available for you.
Yeah, so you got two options now. You can either await speech to text and wait for it to finish, and then code will continue after the await statement, or you can kick it off in the background and let it just run forever. And we'll fire an event every time we get input or it ends. So lots of choices. Also some good bug fixes here in pop-up, and we're gonna have a couple more bug fixes. There was, I think 1 or 2 issues opened up on pop-up again after version 6.0 came out, but we're on top of it, or at least Kenji in the community. Again, thank you so much for your work. Kenji's on top of it. So we've just got to get those reviewed, merged in, and then we'll push out either 6.1 or 6.0.1, and that'll likely be our last release until .NET 8 comes out next month. So we've got to start working on that. .NET 8's got a big change. Vlad's already on top of it. He's been bugging me to update the toolkit to .NET 8 for a couple months now. So yeah, we'll start working on that because in .NET 8. The namespace Microsoft.Maui.controls will now be a NuGet package. So we've got to configure, or I guess Vlad already has configured a bunch of stuff under the hood. So it'll work, and everything will just be there for you once .NET 8 releases. The other big release for all of my C# UI friends out there, Maui markup released version 3.3, and finally, I was the blocker here. There was no reason why we couldn't have released this sooner other than it took me 2-3 months to finally write the docs. So my apologies. But the big news in 3.3 is we've added .NET Hot Reload support. So there's a weird, well, I think it's a little strange, attribute that every library has to add to their app to support .NET Hot Reload. It'd be nice if it just worked out the box, but yeah, we had a couple folks asking like, hey, how come .NET Hot Reload doesn't work? And I was like, I don't know. And went down the rabbit hole. So we added in support for that. And I'm going to pull up the documentation real quick because there is a kind of a unique usage here. So something to keep in mind as you're using .NET Hot Reload with Maui in general is that hot reload button. So it's this, let's see if this Zoom works. This fire button here in Visual Studio, that's your .NET Hot Reload button. So when you edit your C# code, you can click that button and then it'll update your code that's running. And I promise your code's updated, but if you've done nothing else, you might not see your UI update right away. And that's just because .NET Maui hasn't been told to redraw the UI. So hopefully someday the .NET Maui team will add support for .NET Hot Reload natively to .NET Maui so that anytime the hot reload button is tapped, then it'll tell it to maybe invalidate a layout or redraw everything on the screen for us automatically. But what we have for you is a bit of a workaround. So we have created this interface called iCommunity Toolkit Hot Reload Handler. And this interface contains one method. Let's scroll all the way down here. We have an example implementation here. It contains one method called onHotReload. And what's cool about this is every time you click that button, the .NET Hot Reload will fire an event that provides all the types that it detected changed in C#. So what we do, this is what I recommend doing to make your life easier, my life easier as C# UI developers is implement this interface and then in onHotReload, tell .NET Maui to update your app. So I added some example code here where it'll handle a lot of cases. Every app's going to be different. So this doesn't work for every single app, but hopefully it's good enough to get everybody started. But certain conditions, like if we're using shell, then I tell it to basically push the page again. So it'll redraw the UI. If we're not using shell, I'll tell it to navigate away from the page and navigate back to it. So it kind of forces .NET Maui to redraw the UI. So once you've implemented that interface, just make sure to add it to our service locator, our dependency injection, just like this, and then you're good to go. We'll automatically fire these events under the hood for you. This will not run in release mode. We added code to make sure that none of this code runs in release, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But check it out. Give it a try. Let us know what you think. This is something I spent a lot of time on and I'm really excited about. So hope you are too. All right. Well, let's jump into the first non-announcement item on the agenda. And this is probably another thing that deserves a little backstory. So we have a proposal here that says remove skiasharp.view's dependency. And it probably sounds weird at first because we try very hard and do avoid adding any third-party dependencies to the .NET Maui Community Toolkit. That's the big reason why Community Toolkit.maui.media elements in a separate package is because it required external dependencies, and we don't want to force anything into your app that you won't be using or needing. But recently, there was a security vulnerability found in a version of Skiasharp. Now, if you update to the latest version of Skiasharp, the latest NuGet package of Skiasharp, you're good. It's fixed, and you don't have to worry about it. But in our CI pipeline, we check every transitive dependency on CommunityToolkit.maui to scan for security vulnerabilities. Shout out to Vlad for implementing that. Thank you, Vlad. And that way we don't accidentally pass anything on to you. So what we had to do under the hood, and you can read more about it later. I've got the link to the security vulnerability report on Skia Sharp. But long story short, Tizen uses Skia Sharp as a transitive dependency. So this is really only impacting you if you're using Tizen, but we had to basically add a direct dependency to skiasharp.view's minimum version. That's what this little bracket means. It means minimum version 2.88.6, where the security vulnerability is patched. And then this comma parenthesis means you can use any version newer. But if you're using .NET Maui to make your Tizen apps, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've alleviated the security vulnerability for you, so you don't even have to do this in your app. And then what this proposal here is for is basically just to remind us that once the .NET Maui team updates their code, because long story short, well, I guess this is just going to be a long story. Microsoft.maui. Where is it here? Microsoft.maui.graphics.skia has a dependency on Skia Sharp. So they've already opened up a pull request. I think it's already merged, where they update to Skia Sharp version 2.8.86. And then once they push out a new version of Microsoft.maui.graphics.skia, then Tizen's NuGet package, or Tizen's workload, Tizen.ui-extensions.nui, can take the dependency on the latest version of Microsoft.maui.skia, and then we can remove our dependency. So this is really just a placeholder for us. Nobody really has to worry about anything out there, but did want to share this with you because a lot of .NET Maui developers use Skia. So again, if you're using the toolkit, you're cool. We've already got you covered. But just know that if you're on a version of Skia Sharp earlier than 2.88.6, you might have that security vulnerability somewhere in your project too. So dive in, check it out. And then what I wanted to do today, and we can at least get it started here, is to vote to approve this. So I opened this as an approval, or as a proposal instead of a bug fix, because I don't really see this necessarily as a bug. But for our proposals, we always have to vote on them, and we need at least half of the maintainers. So we'll do a quick vote here to get at least the 4 of us. And then, gosh, how many maintainers do we have now? 10, I think? Maybe 11 or 12? Then we can have another maintainer who couldn't make it today leave a comment to add their vote. We can get this approved. And that way, once all these updates have been done, once Microsoft Maui.graphics.skia is updated, once Tizen.ui-extensions.nui is updated, then we can pull this out. It's already been approved, and we don't have to have any delays. So with that being said, let's do a quick vote. Show of hands if you approve this proposal. All right, so we got 4, and we'll circle back with the maintainers on Discord to get a couple more votes on here too. Great.
Yeah.
All right.
I can just add a note here. So if .NET Maui will have enough, will not update it till our next release, it will not be included in .NET 7 release. So it will be a part of the next .NET 8. So we will remove it in the next release.
Sounds good. And actually, Vlad, I just remembered. Oh, no, I was good. Okay, I'm a good developer. I was worried down here that I might have said net 7.0 -Tizen, but looks like I just said -Tizen. So we're good, and we don't have to worry about that for our .NET 8 upgrade. Whew. Had a moment of panic there. Okay, Vlad, you're up. I saw you added the needs discussion label to TabView.
Yeah.
What's going on?
As for this TabView control, I started looking into it and found at least 2 possible ways to implement it. And they differs from what we had in Xamarin Community Toolkit. Actually, I haven't published any code here and haven't prepared for a small demo. Yeah, sorry about that, but I will describe you in few words how I suggest we can implement it. So I found that carousel view and indicator view can be reused to implement tab view. So where we have like indicator view can be used as a tabs because like it has a template and can be and we can set it. Also, carousel view already has like swipe events. It has like a beautiful animations, all out of the box from .NET Maui. So that is why it simplifies our implementation. So yeah, but on the other hand, like carousel view is a buggy control, I would say. It's on
Yeah, it
Windows,
is.
yeah, you know. So yeah, that is my concern about this implementation. As for another one, yeah, but actually it at least like looks similar until you start swiping it. Yeah, and as for another implementation, it's just a similar like vertical layout with like a vertical layout with horizontal layout for tabs and just a content view for tab content. And yeah, it's the simplest one I found, but yeah, you know, with that implementation, we lose like swipes, we lose like other like beautiful animations, which we actually we not lose them. We just need to implement them manually. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
my question about like further like further implementation, which one should we like? Yeah, should we
Yeah.
investigate
What do we do? How do we do it?
yeah, how we can implement it? Yeah, actually, I prefer indicator view and carousel view, but it would be nice if it will be more stable and more like have better user experience.
Yeah, I'm curious. Have you tried out? So I totally agree with you. By the way, I one of my first apps that I wrote in .NET Maui, I tried to use a carousel view, and yeah, like you mentioned, it was just buggy. If I remember correctly, Windows just didn't work. There was I forget exactly what, like a binding didn't fire or an event didn't fire. Something wasn't working properly, and I literally just had to scrap it and throw it away. But that was probably .NET 6. So yeah, curious, Vlad, have you tried it on .NET 8? Maybe it's
Uh,
gotten better.
at least I tried on .NET 7 and well, I even tried it on .NET 8 and I still see like a scroll view. It's like, as I understand correctly, how it's implemented under the hood, it's a scroll view behind it or horizontal stack layout. Well, actually, it's a collection view, and in collection view, with a horizontal layout, and it still has like a scroll bar visible there. uh, well, I need to check if we can hide it at least, or find other way how we can switch between different tabs. But yeah, like it looks at least different on Android and iOS. That is why like Windows implementation for carousel view, we may receive a lot of like negative feedback about it. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Tanya, what's your experience with Carousel View? Have you gotten to play around with it in .NET Maui?
Actually, me, I haven't managed to like have some experience with carousel view, but maybe I can try soon something do. But as you said, it quite buggy. Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, sorry to
Cliff,
talk
what about
over
you?
him,
Do
but
we have any
yeah.
Carousel View experts?
I'm not an expert. I've used it. I've often found it to be a little bit slow and buggy. Certainly was when it was on the Xamarin. I think it's better now though. But yeah, I like the idea. I don't fully understand what we're trying to do here, but I'm trying to work out what you're trying to do with indicator view.
Well,
Proposal.
like
So I've not.
carousel view will have like items of content view of views,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
indicator view above it or below we can like add the possibility to choose, but doesn't matter. Indicator view automatically links to the tabs, so we can like when user click on indicator view, it will automatically move them to the carousel view because it's they are linked.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That sounds
it's
good.
another benefit of using like carousel view with indicator view.
Okay.
Yeah, like what I'm picturing in my head is instead of having like little, usually I use like little white dots for my indicator. We would instead make those like pin them to the bottom of the screen where the tab bar usually is down at the bottom,
You can
and then
open the
make them
link.
big and like buttons.
Yeah, you can open the link that is here, like indicator ampere. And scroll probably down. You can see, it's here. It's a small like Xbox probably icon there, but it's you can see indicator template. It's overwritten, and we can use any like text there, any image, and in this example, it's a small like crossed black icon there, but for that template we can allow users to choose their own implementation, and that's how it can work.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
I got
sorry,
the
go
idea of the indicator. I got the idea of the indicator view, but where are we using it in respect to the tab view? Was it a tab view? I think it was. You want to use it the same as we do with the carousel view, but for the tab view.
Yeah, carousel view is used to display actually the content of tab, and indicator view is used for tabs.
Okay.
So, yeah, Vlad, what I'm thinking is maybe play around with it in .NET 8. Because if we get a good proof of concept, I think it's kind of a clever idea. But yeah, I think we're all a little bit hesitant because we've used carousel view before and it's a little buggy. So it'll be something we'll definitely need to stress test. I remember specifically, it's coming back to me on Windows when I was using carousel view. I was trying to programmatically swipe. And it worked fine on iOS and Android, but for whatever reason, Windows, when I would change the index, the UI wouldn't automatically update. I tried a bunch of workarounds and couldn't get it working. But
to be honest, I tried it on .NET 8, and probably it became even worse than .NET 7. Yeah. Probably it's just an RC1 version I tried. Yeah, but for some reason my indicators stopped. I also tried like change the indicator position, and by timer, and for some reason it stopped on the on the latest on the latest page, and nothing changed after that. So we'll see, maybe something will change in RC2 and final release. Also, I didn't try it on iOS because I don't want to install Rosetta for now. But in RC2 it will not be necessary, so it will like use native ARM builds. So it's a great improvement.
cool. I didn't know that.
I just tried to understand why my build failed because of some of AOT issue during compilation. Start searching for the fix and found that it will be fixed in RC2 with a native implementation with ARM. So we'll see.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, cool idea. May or may not be doable, but we'll find out. That's half of the fun, right? As we get to play around with cool toys like this. All right, Vlad, you've got a PR open here for updating DrawingView.
We love events. So we added 3 new events and 3 new commands to the drawing view, allowing you to it help you identify what you're actually doing with drawing view when you start drawing, when you cancel drawing, when you drawing something. And I decided to put needs discussion tag because naming is hard if you scroll down to our discussion and comments. And yeah, so probably yeah. So this discussion. So you're suggesting to you like event actually is something that already happened. So that is why we should use the past form of it, and like for drawing or on drawing, we should use drawn. But from my point of view here, it may be a bit confused for users because we already have an event drawing line completed, and like it may be not clear for user what. Well, I already drawn something, it's happened, but then event fires again, and another event called drawing line completed. So as for like drawing event, that is actually what happened when user drawing. So it's like a continuous event, like continuous action. And on native implementation on Android, in platform implementation, it calls on moving. So it's a moving event. And yeah, so probably we may have an exclusion for this naming for this property here, and call and name it drawing.
And I'll be honest with you, Vlad. I didn't review any of the code in this PR. When I saw it opened up, I jumped straight to the interface because I was like, oh, cool! Like, what are the new APIs we're adding? So this was just like the quickest, dirtiest review possible. So what is this event? Because like I didn't even look at the code that fires this event, so I don't even know what it does.
Well, okay, so for now we have 4 events. Drawing started is just when you put your finger on a screen and start moving it. So it happened in that moment, like on mouse down, something like that. Then when you're moving your finger, when you start drawing, when you're actually drawing something, and new points added to your line, that's happening a drawing event. At some moment of time, like drawing is like moving your finger. Also, when you finished drawing, we fire a drawing line completed event because you actually like finished drawing, and that's it. You have a final line that we store with your points, and that is drawing line completed event. We can simplify it to drawing completed, but because we like working with lines in drawing view, we already called it drawing line completed. And another event, drawing cancelled, I don't actually was I was not able to reproduce it, and don't clearly can understand when it happened, but well, it may happen when at some moment of time when you just cancel your drawing. Don't know how actually to reproduce it in normal scenarios.
So, fortunately for us, we have a speaker of the King's English, Cliff. what what do we name this event? I like finger moved wouldn't. That's probably not very intuitive, but
I actually quite
yeah.
like drawing line completed makes sense to me because you've drawn a line and you've completed it.
But the problem is we already have an event called Drawing Line Completed.
Brandon, could you open probably interface? It may be a bit more clear, or drawing view implementation.
come on. Oh wait, I can collapse that. Boop. And oh no, I wanted the interface. There it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
Or you know, here let's just view the file. Okay, where to, Vlad?
Yeah, they're in the end of the file. Yeah, as for this one, we will just rename it on drawing line completed. So to be consistent with other events.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see that we have like on scroll a bit up, we have on drawing started, on drawing cancelled, on drawing actually, and drawing line completed.
Should that not mean if we've got on drawing, we should take line out, so it should just be on drawing completed? Because you've got on drawing cancelled, on drawing started. So just to keep it so they're all the same, it's like on drawing completed rather than that one on its own having line.
Maybe
Possibly.
we can use, sorry for interrupting, maybe we can use some name like drawing stopped if we have drawing started, or it would be like worse name.
Yeah, I think it's better to use drawing cancel because it actually called the same on platform implementation. And yeah, I would suggest like started, cancelled, and finished or completed. Don't remember, but yeah. As for on, yeah, I'm okay to renaming it on drawing line. Started on drawing line, cancelled on drawing line, completed. But as for on drawing, it's just on drawing line.
Yeah, I think we even need to take line out.
Drawing.
We even need to take line out of the drawing line completed or put it into the other ones just so it looks.
Yeah, no, I like that idea because if we rename this one down here, if we rename drawing line completed to on drawing completed, and then have an on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like idea of just on drawing completed because actually it may understand that you just finished the whole drawing, but and we expect that you may get the whole list of lines, but we actually fire the event only when you finish drawing the last line. So it's better to add lines everywhere in names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tab
dang.
But tab completion and Copilot will do it for us anyway. So you know, it'll fill in the extra lines for us. It's not like we're going to be tapping extra keystrokes.
Well, oh dang! I'll be honest. I lost track of where we landed. But I'll say this. You know, if we rename this API, it's going to be a breaking change no matter what. And so I think it's great to take advantage of that breaking change if we want to make other breaking changes in here to the API names. So let's see, Vlad, did you catch the names you want to use to move forward? I kind of lost the plot as we went back and forth.
Well, my suggestion is to have names like on drawing line completed, and for all other on drawing line cancelled, on drawing line started. That's okay. But as for like the main question was about on drawing, because you suggest like we have event that probably should called drawn.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what if we call this?
Yeah, but
point
On
drawn.
But actually, it not that well, because it's just a point. Maybe make on drawing point on point drawn. Yeah, maybe something like that.
Okay, that could work. In Vlad, I forget what you want to move forward with, but or do you prefer, like, I see you have the obsolete tag here, so I think I already know the answer, but do you prefer to have this obsolete tag here, letting him know what we will be renaming it to probably in our .NET 8 release, and keep this API the same for now, so that we can push out this PR? It won't be a breaking change. We don't need to do a major version update, and then in .NET 8 doing the breaking change and renaming this.
Could you repeat?
When do we want to do the breaking change? In the current open PR or in a later PR?
For now, I just want to mark this API as obsolete. So I'm not sure if we add in just an attribute, it will be a breaking change.
Nope.
Yeah, okay. In that case, as that is 3 new, in this PR in .NET 7, I hope we will add like 3 new events, and we will have like mark this event as obsolete. And in .NET 8, in the next months, we will just rename this one to on drawing line completed, and that's it. Probably even in that PR that we already opened for .NET 8, as it already has a lot of breaking changes there.
And not to add any more confusion, because we definitely got some more stuff to talk to, and we're almost at the top of the hour. But one option I just thought of was, we can actually add code to interfaces now. So another option would be you could add the new method. I forget what we'll call it, but for now I'll just call it on drawing line completed. So we'll add the new method, and then this just points to the new method, and so the logic still works. We didn't necessarily break anything. And then, since this is already marked obsolete in this release, and the new implementation's already in there, in our .NET 8 release, we could remove this.
I think it will be just simply for us just to rename it in future rather than delete. So it's less work for me for this PR, just to like
That's true.
always just to add a new event.
All right, sounds good. What else?
Yeah, that's it from my side about it.
Cool. Well, thank you, Vlad. I'm glad you brought that. Yeah, naming's always hard, right? Cliff, you opened a discussion on discussions. What's going on?
Yeah, I opened a discussion on discussions about the discussions. We talked about this 2 meetups ago, and I said I would get into it, and then we kind of briefly mentioned it on the last one. So the idea is the discussions board is huge. It's got stuff on there, since the beginning of the Maui community toolkit. So 2021. There's things on there that people put as feature requests that are only one person's kind of upvoted, and it's a way of kind of cleaning up discussions board, just like we try and do with issues, but also a way of highlighting like feature requests that the community actually really want, and us maintainers may not have seen the fact that there's a lot of community support around this. So the idea is that if a feature request is put on the discussion board, before we meet up for the monthly stand-up, one of the maintainers, I'll take it on board as being my task. We'll look and see which ones have got enough upvotes to be talked about on a section on the monthly stand-up. So I suggested 10 votes, but if you scroll down on that discussion, I've forgotten who it was now, come back and said...
there's a poll in here? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a poll, yeah. Do you go for it or not? Do you like it or not? Hugo Garcia there has said he thinks it should be seven votes, mainly because it's a prime number, but it's half the number of maintainers plus one. So yeah, we need at least half the maintainers. I quite like the idea. It's a prime number. He got me at prime. But also the thought is as well is that we'll use it to clean up. So if a feature doesn't reach the threshold after, I don't know, 6 months, say, is what I've kind of put in there, but I'm open to suggestions on the discussion. Then we'll close that feature down. If it reaches, say, 10 votes, and we do talk about it on the community stand-up, and we decide actually as a maintainers group, we don't think it fits, and the one that's got the highest number of votes at the moment is around adding micro charts to Community Toolkit. It's like, well, that's already a third-party open source package. Why would we kind of do that work when you can just go and get that NuGet? So if that was a discussion, we had that a few stand-ups ago, then we'd close it, and in closing the discussion, we'd put a link to the community stand-up video on YouTube where we discussed it as a group of maintainers, and they can hear and see why we closed that discussion. So there's a bit of kind of circling back, and it closes it off. It's not, we don't like your idea, it's closed, off you go. So that's the idea. Open suggestions, it's discussion. There's a poll on there just because why not? I'll check back on it in, say, a week's time and see how we're getting on, and see if we get some upvotes on it. And yeah, what do you all think?
I think with something like this, we can figure out what the proper number is later. I think 7 sounds good, and then if the community toolkit ends up having millions of users later, and that causes discussions to get 100 upvotes on average, we'll want to update that. But no, I love this, Cliff, because I'll speak for myself. I get emails for every discussion, so I see them, but I definitely can't respond to everything. And for the community, these discussions are for you, so it's not necessarily only for us to respond. So if you're in the community, join the discussions. You can help your fellow developers. It doesn't just have to be us. But yeah, Cliff, no, thank you. I love the idea of you taking ownership of the discussion, staying on top of it, making sure we surface them here in the stand-ups so we don't miss any great ideas. And yeah, also to kind of clean up the old ones, because I think that microcharts one was open before microcharts added .NET Maui support. I think that was the initial idea, if I remember correctly, from 2 years ago. But yeah, I agree. Now that microcharts exists, there's no blockers. Use it. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% in.
And it means that we start to close off some of these, as Hugo Garcia says there. There's duplicates. There's some that have been open for a really long time, which people have probably forgotten about, or we've already kind of implemented in a slightly different way because we've moved on. So yeah, I'll get on top of sorting the discussions boards out and kind of get rid of a lot of the old ones and close them down and put some comments against them and just try and kind of filter it all out.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks so much for taking the initiative on this.
Yeah, I can also add that it's good that we will finally have solve the issue with the mess that we have in discussions. Yeah, because there are a lot of old issues, some duplicates. You correctly describe it here. So finally, yeah, probably because GitHub didn't have a possibility to close discussion or just remove them, delete. I don't remember how to correctly. Yeah, and they just recently added it. So probably for now it will be much easier for us, just because to find and clean up the whole list the same that we have with issues.
Yeah, and Cliff, I can even see this growing. And I don't want this to be a blocker before you launch we'll call it the discussions program or discussions initiative. But we've got the Microsoft bot hooked up to our issues or PRs. and I don't know off the top of my head, but maybe it could also get hooked up to discussions. So if a discussion automatically hits our threshold of upvotes, if it gets 7, then it does something. Maybe it adds a label or tags one of us in it. But again, I think it's great as it is now. What you're doing is much needed. We've definitely neglected our discussions forum for too long. So I really appreciate it. And as you kind of get into a routine and see like, oh yeah, like every time this happens, we can close it, or every time this happens, we add a label, maybe we can automate it, because that'd be cool too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for the moment, we're just asking the community to jump on the discussion and see if they put their ideas in, what we should and shouldn't do. It's just my first thoughts on it at the moment. So we'll go from there.
Love it. Grab the link in the comments or come to the discussions and have discussions about discussions. Okay, one more thing, and I'm going to move quickly here because I have a hard stop at the top of the hour. I've got another meeting to jump to. But so I mentioned we released version 3.3.0 of Maui markup, adding hot reload support. And user this week, Paul, thank you, Paul, opened up a discussion and he closed it. I might reopen this or I might transfer to an issue, but there's an error that I've seen, and it's only in version 3.3.0 of Maui markup. But I've seen the same thing, but I can't figure it out. So if anybody out there is familiar with this, let me drop the link to this in the comments as well. Let me know your thoughts, because right now, so I'll jump to my response. Here we go. So I let him know I've experienced 2, but I haven't figured out how to fix it. For me, it's only happened on macOS, but it works in our CI builds. So, Maui markup has its own CI build, and it's got a sample app that demonstrates all the features of Maui markup. And so that build would not have passed if this was, I guess we'll say, a global bug. But I've experienced on my Mac, and so I'm wondering, like, maybe it's a specific version of .NET Maui, or I'm sorry, not .NET Maui, a specific version of .NET that maybe, because like I have .NET 8 installed on my local machine, maybe he does too, and that's why it's happening and not happening in our CI builds. But the good news is, easy workaround. If you can just downgrade back to version 3.2.0. The only new feature we added in 3.3.0 is .NET Hot Reload support. There weren't any new features or bug fixes, so 3.2.0 is essentially the same thing, just we won't get that support. So I'm going to dive into this. Like I said, this is a weird one. It's happening on my local machine, but not in CI build. So it tells me it's an environment thing. And I haven't boiled it down to, is it a bug in .NET? Is it a bug in Community Toolkit markup? I don't know yet. But if you do hit it and you can't figure out a way around it, you can just downgrade for now. But otherwise, I'll be digging into this month. So with that, we've got 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Vlad, Cliff, Tanya?
Yeah. There's a question from Lucas in the chat. And touch effects, any info? I don't understand the context of that. There you go.
Work in progress. Probably we even have I don't remember, open PR by Pedro about it, about this feature. At least I saw the branch. Yeah, we have an open PR. It's currently in draft.
So yeah, Kim's working on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw this week Kim push some new commits. So he's added macOS, which obviously didn't exist in Xamarin Community Toolkit. He's added the unit test. So Lucas, good question. If Kim was here, he could give you the latest greatest. But I see he's working on it, and so I don't want to make any promises, but it feels like it's getting closer. I'm getting excited. So yeah, stay tuned, Lucas. You can subscribe to this PR for notifications, and here I'll drop the link in the chat for you. All right, about 30 seconds left. Final thoughts?
The final probably question I can quickly answer to Sel. Yeah, sorry for my pronunciation your name. So answering your question, migrating to .NET Maui, probably the best thing. It depends on your application. As for iOS extensions, you can find the answer on my blog post about like adding iOS extensions. It's pretty simple. You can reach out to me. I will help you with that. But as for the whole application with .NET Maui, from Xamarin Forms to .NET Maui, it depends on the size of your application, how many features you have there. So the simplest way just to create a new .NET Maui app, and one by one move your code there. Yeah. You can also try
it's a lot of work.
.NET.
I'm doing it right now.
You can use .NET migration tool. It probably can help you as well, but I didn't try it.
I've used the upgrade assistant to get partway there, which sorted out a lot of the namespace issues. And then I opened a file new project over Maui and copied everything across. But then all the namespaces were fixed because the upgrade assistants did that part and sorted out the CS proj, etc. So that was how I've done it on a couple of apps now, and it's painful. Took a couple of days on each one, but yeah, it got there. So biggest problem is if there's some mad third-party tool you're using on Xamarin that isn't ported to Maui. That's the biggest issue. But James Magna's got a great YouTube series on it.
Well, you have half of a year just until Xamarin Forms support it. So
and we're all here with you.
.NET 8 is start your app to migrate to .NET Maui.
Yep. We all feel your pain too, Sasha. It's a ton of work, and like Cliff mentioned, check out the .NET Migration Assistant. That'll help just to get you started. But I agree. Eventually, you should just do file new project, and use the .NET Maui template and kind of copy paste the code over after using the Migration Assistant. Because something I found as I'm doing mine is, our Xamarin Forms apps have our .NET Standard project, our Xamarin iOS project, our Xamarin Android project. And eventually you want to consolidate all those into the single project format. And if you use the .NET Migration Assistant, it won't do that consolidation for you. So the Migration Assistant is great because, like Cliff said, it'll update the namespaces, and it even knows some popular NuGet packages. So it knows to swap out Xamarin Community Toolkit with .NET Maui Community Toolkit, which is pretty cool. I was impressed by that. Shout out. Thank you. Thank you to the team for including us. But then, once you get that, I would do a file new project for grab that .NET Maui template. I would also wait till .NET 8. And then, start copying your code over. Well, thanks, everybody. I do have to run. I apologize for cutting this a little short. But it's so great seeing you guys. Tanya, Cliff, Vlad, thanks for joining. And thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. And we'll see you next month. We stream live on the first Thursday of every month at 12 p.m. Pacific. So we'll see you in November.